Hello, and welcome to Namio's Corner, where we explore the best, the worst, and the incredibly mediocre in religious art and culture. I've been on hiatus for much longer than I intended, and during that entire time, there was one song on the Christian radio stations that steadfastly refused to go away. So, now that I'm back, and before it has a chance to slip completely off the charts, let's talk about Toby Mac. Toby Mac started making Christian music in the late 80s, early 90s as one-third of the group DC Talk. DC Talk was a unique band whose sound was a fusion of rock and hip-hop with a decent amount of rap. Toby was the group's rapper, consistently bringing quality lyrics to their songs, whether in their early period when they were still trying to justify their existence to Christians worried that all this rap stuff might be scary.
Rap music, the sound of the time, the sort of talk lyrics, the rhythm and rhyme.
In their later period, when they were the biggest name in Christian music, to his eventual solo career. DC Talk dominated Christian music through most of the 90s. They were one of the most successful Christian acts in history, selling over 8 million albums in the course of their career. The best comparison I could make would be to say that they were the Christian equivalent of Destiny's Child. And, like Destiny's Child, when the group broke up, one member shot to superstardom while the other two faded into obscurity for about 10 years. That's right, Toby Mac is the Christian Beyoncé. In the years since DC Talk broke up, Toby has become one of the biggest names in Christian music, releasing 5 highly successful solo albums, the latest of which debuted in August of 2012 at #1 on the Billboard charts. And by that, I don't mean that he was just #1 on the Christian charts, he was #1 on the primary Billboard chart. He had the #1 album in all of American music. The last time that happened for a Christian artist was 1997, and that was only because Oprah helped. Toby has always been known as a great rapper, but in 1994, while DC Talk was still going strong, he also took on another role, that of producer for his own label, Goatee Records. Goatee was mostly a side project when he was part of the group, but after they broke up, Goatee became a huge part of Toby's life. And over the years, the label has been really successful. Current and former artists include Out of Eden, Jennifer Knapp, and Jamie Grace, among others. So, that's where we are today. Rather than coasting on his notoriety as one-third of one of the best Christian acts of all time, Toby has become a successful artist in his own right, putting out well-loved and critically acclaimed music. So, let's see what he brings to the table with the lead single from his 5th album, Eye on It. The song is called Me Without You. Let's take a look. Has it been 3 to 5 years already? I guess it has. I should probably explain. See, there's a reliable pattern to Christian music. Whenever a new musical trend emerges in the secular world, the first thing that happens is that everyone in the Christian world gets offended and writes off the new musical trend as immoral and disgusting. As the new trend takes hold, these people become more and more distraught over this horrible new form of musical debauchery and do a lot of hand-wringing over how it's going to destroy the moral fabric of America's young people today.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes,
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Then, roughly 3 to 5 years after the trend starts, usually just as it's winding down and making way for the next trend, some Christian artist decides that it would be a really great ministry opportunity for someone to do a Christian version of this musical trend that is so super popular. This means that when the next secular trend comes along, Christians are too busy being entranced by the new trend in their own subgenre to notice that the rest of the world has moved on to something else. Except, of course, to wring their hands in horror at the new lows in secular music.
Deja vu, the sensation that you are doing something you have done before. Deja vu, the sensation that you are doing something you have done before. Deja vu.
Right now, in the world of secular music, the club music trend is dying down, and it's had a pretty good 3 to 5 year run, which means it's perfect timing for a Christian innovator like Toby Mac to come in and do a dance tune of his own. But Christian music is also supposed to be about deep, inspiring lyrics.
Fred and Wilma Flintstone sing Yabba Dabba Loo-ya.
Yeah. Well, let's see how Toby does on that front.
Raindrops rolling off my brim. Street lights got the pavement glistening. Touchdown, I fall into your arms. Right where I belong, your everlasting arms.
I'm confused. What exactly was it about rain falling on your hat that gave you a spiritual epiphany? And what was with the random football reference? In what context would you be walking down the street in the rain, wearing a hat, and playing football at the same time?
Catch Johnny! Woo! Yeah, nice snag!
Touché.
And where would I be without you? I'll be packing my bag when I need to stay.
What does that mean? Where are you staying? Where would you be going if you didn't believe in God?
I'll be chasing every breeze that blows my way.
Okay, in Christianese, this means he'd be following after any new teaching or idea that came along. And he just said that without God, he'd be leaving when he needs to stay. So, in this alternate timeline, he's a wandering vagrant, constantly changing his belief system based solely on what is popular. That's kind of a harsh thing to say about yourself.
I'll be building my kingdom just to watch it fade away. It's true.
I assume he's talking about his career here because he specifically refers to his personal kingdom, which is a common Christian euphemism for worldly success. The implication here is that without God, his success will fade away, but with God, it won't. Which doesn't really make any sense. Generally, whether or not a work of art endures past its creator's demise doesn't so much depend on whether or not the artist was a Christian as it does on whether or not that work of art was any good.
That's me without you. Ooh, 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 ooh. That's me without you. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Wait, that's it? Well, that was vague. Toby, you're at the end of the first chorus and you still haven't said anything substantial about why you feel you're better with God than you would be without him. Are you gonna clear that up anytime soon?
Flashback, step into the scene. There's you, and there's a very different me.
Okay, here we go. Finally, some clarification. Okay, so why do you think that you would be so different?
Touchdown, you had me at believe. You had me at believe you did.
Of course, how silly of me. For a second I thought we might have some substance in this bland nothing of a song. Instead, we get this.
You had me at hello.
And again with the football metaphor. I don't understand. This song does not have any themes that are generally associated with sports metaphors. There's no talk of struggle, no talk of perseverance, no talk of overcoming odds. It's just the word touchdown randomly inserted into these lines with no purpose, like an overly complex verbal pause or something. It just doesn't make any sense.
And I got a grocery bag.
Anyway, after that, the song just keeps going. There are some random whispered lines about, "Oh, Jesus, you rescued me," and a lot more repetition of the chorus. Here's one of my biggest problems with this song. Toby Mac did not convert to Christianity as an adult. He was raised in a Christian household and made the decision to become a Christian himself when he was still prepubescent. There is no way of knowing what kind of person Toby would have been if he hadn't been a Christian, because he pretty much has always been a Christian. Honestly, I would have been much more interested in hearing that story. There's this weird pressure in Christian culture to have some form of powerful conversion story that you can tell people. That story is called your testimony. And if your testimony boils down to, I was raised by Christians, became one myself when I was still a child due to their influence, and have been one ever since, you tend to almost be looked down on in comparison with someone who, say, had a problem with drugs and alcohol, but kicked the habit when they became a Christian. Somewhere in my house, I have a tiny pink New Testament that proclaims in the front of it that I became a Christian with Freckles the Clown when I was 5 years old. Toby's story is that he became a Christian at a summer camp when he was about 12 years old. Now, neither of our stories are in any way negative or wrong, they're just not that interesting. There was no deep spiritual conflict, there was nothing particularly dramatic about what happened, and there's nothing wrong with that. If Toby had set out to write a song about that experience of becoming a Christian as a child and following that commitment as he continued into adulthood, that might have been a more interesting, or at least more honest song. Instead, we get this lyrically weak attempt by someone who does not have an interesting testimony to try and make his testimony sound more exciting by insinuating that his life would suck without Jesus, but not really saying how it would suck, or more importantly, why it would suck. But what bothers me even more about this song is that the supposed subject has been done before and done much better. On her album God, released in 1996, Rebecca St. James also did a song titled Me Without You. Here's how she tackled the topic.
Like a band without a drummer, that's me without you. Like a year without a summer, that's me without you. Like a story with no ending, like a boy without a shoe, like a wasted feast, like a faithless priest. That's me without you, me without you. A pitiful sight, me without you. And I'm never gonna feel right.
Rebecca's song is proof that this topic can be done well. Rebecca also became a Christian when she was very young, but rather than trying to pretend that her story is more interesting than it actually is, she instead takes the title of the song and uses simple, concrete images to try and express how essential her relationship with God feels to her and how incomplete she would feel without it. The result is a fun and witty song that gets the point across without being too complex. Toby Mac's song, on the other hand, feels like an empty, messy cash-in. It's really hard to find evidence of any real depth of feeling or introspection in these lyrics, which is incredibly disappointing because Toby has proven that he's capable of so much more. Ultimately, this song is just plain depressing. Coming from an artist who we know is capable of creating thought-provoking lyrics along with catchy, interesting music, this song stands as one of the weakest efforts Toby Mac has ever put forward. More than anything, it feels like a rushed, uninspired pile of album filler where everyone was focused on the music and nobody really gave much thought to the lyrics. And even that wouldn't have been so bad if they hadn't made it the album's lead single. But thankfully, this boring nothing of a song is waning in popularity and will hopefully disappear soon. And even better, Toby's next single actually has lyrics that I believe were inspired by an actual emotion.
If you wanna steal my show, I'll sit back and watch you go. If you got something to say, go on and take it away. Need you to steal my show, can't wait to watch you go. Oh, 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 so take it away.
overall, this song and the massive overplay that it received has been annoying. But Steal My Show is a comforting reminder that while a good artist might sometimes make a misstep, they can in fact come back swinging. I'm Namio, and the best track record cannot excuse aggressive mediocrity.
Another cold night, another late flight. It's almost showtime and Diver City's waiting on